Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Williamsburg City Council on Thursday, March 9th. Mr. Trivett, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Rogers?
Here.
Ms. Ramsey?
Here.
Mayor Pons?
Here.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Here.
Ms. Kern-Shear?
Here.
Thank you. You all have in your packet meeting minutes, 4 sets. Are there any corrections or changes? Is there a motion to approve?
So I move that we approve all of the minutes, work session February the 6th, City Council meeting February the 9th, budget retreat February the 14th, and closed session February the 22nd.
Second.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kern-Shear?
Aye.
Thank you. We have no matters of special privilege. Takes us now to reports. And first is the monthly financial statement. Ms. Dameron, welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to report that as of February, the general fund revenues are performing well. Room taxes are $2.2 million, a 10.2% increase compared with last year. And meals are at $5.1 million, a 12.8% increase compared to last year. Property taxes are performing in line with budget at this point. Recordation taxes have exceeded the budget slightly, and permits and license have exceeded the budget by $172,000, primarily due to building permits and related other permits such as plumbing and mechanical. Fine and forfeitures include court fines and parking fines, with court fines comprising $170,000 of the budget for that category, and parking fines make up $50,000. While parking fines are already at budget level, court fines are lagging last year's collection, and the budget's been level for the 2 years, but it's lagging by 27% as of February. And if that trend continues, I would anticipate that line item coming under budget. Business licenses are due in March, and bank stock taxes are collected in the May or June timeframe. So we'll continue to monitor that as we proceed on through March. General fund expenditures are in line with budget, and as of the end of February, $4.4 million has been transferred from the general fund surplus. And as we've mentioned in past months, that's larger than normal, and it's due to the fact that we recognized about $3.7 million in lost revenue from ARPA funding in '22 that we had budgeted for in '23. So we'll continue to see that lag as we move throughout the year. In the sales tax fund, sales tax is about $3 million, representing a 19% increase compared with last year. And interest income is at $1.1 million compared to $28,000 that we realized in February of 2022. In the tourism fund, sales tax is at $1.3 million, representing an increase of 23% when compared to last year. And the $2 lodging tax is $549,000, and that's an increase of 2.3% compared to last year. In the utility fund, water service revenue recognizes at $2.5 million, an 11.2% increase compared to last year. And the sewer service revenue is at $1.2 million, a 12.3% increase compared to last year. And both of those are in line with this year's budget. Total operating expenses as of February were at $4.2 million and are also in line with the budget for the current year. And that concludes my report, but I'm happy to address any questions you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Dameron. I don't have any questions. Council?
Thank you, Ms. Dameron. No questions.
None for me either. Thank you.
Same goes for me. Thank you.
All right, monthly departmental operating report. Who's in the barrel?
I think this month it's going to be Wendy from
right.
Human Services.
Welcome, Ms. Evans.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. Thanks for just giving me a few minutes to give an update on our Youth Achievement Program. So as you know, the City Council set one of our initiatives was to expand our youth program. And so we have Also been approved to add a youth program coordinator. So in January, we brought on board Ty Newsom as our full-time coordinator. Some of you may know Ty. He was worked with our summer program for many years, and so now he's come on full-time and really taken the youth program over. He cannot be with us today because he's actually out with the kids right now. So we also have two part-time employees, Brianna Pretlow and Danielle Wright. They worked previously in our summer program, so they work part-time in the evenings to help us with our programming. So it's great to have staff on board. They're familiar with the kids, the families, the neighborhoods, and a lot of our services. So we're excited to now really have a team working with our youth. And as you know, our department's been hosting a summer program for the last 28, 29 years. I think this is our 29th year. And so the mayor, vice mayor have participated in our graduations in the past and have seen how successful they are. So at the end of our summer program last year, the youth said, hey, we want to keep going. We want to keep being involved. They saw the value. They wanted to stay connected. And so we were happy to bring on Mr. Newsom. And then they started the program February 21st. So 3 days a week after school, they go to Berkeley Middle School and pick up some students. They do the programming and then drive them home around 6. And so they're able to do that 3 days a week. And it's not childcare, right? So, you know, our goal is really to prevent truancy, delinquency, and really to help be that spark for kids to follow their dreams and their goals. And so that is what our staff are all about. And the programming is about teamwork, citizenship, and then academic and career achievement. So the staff also monitor attendance and grades because we want to make sure kids are achieving at school and then also at home. And so I think that, you know, exposing kids to the opportunities, the positive role models, really gives them the confidence to achieve their goals. So we cannot do this alone. So we partner with community agencies, other departments, and providers to come in to share their talents and programs. So we've connected with William and Mary, and they provide tutors that come in and help the kids with their academics before kind of the fun programming starts. And in the last couple weeks, they celebrated Black History Month because it was the end of February. They went to the library. They've utilized the Quarter Path Rec Center. So really utilizing our city services. And I'm in negotiation right now with Colonial Williamsburg to use that Kids Club building again, which we've used previous years. So hopefully by April, we'll have a home base for our programs. In addition to our after-school services, the staff also do one-on-one mentoring with the kids. So the youth that need that extra support, that one-on-one attention, and really need that those extra positive role models. So we get referrals from the school system, the police department, and even parents that call and say, hey, I'm really struggling, and my kid really needs that extra support. So we match the staff with the right youth, and they spend once a week together, and they set goals. And again, that's whatever their individual needs or goals are. They set those and then walk alongside to help them meet those goals. So I'm excited about the program we have and how we've evolved. It's taken a while, really coming out of COVID, took us a while to get here, but I'm excited where we are, and hopefully at my next update, Ty will be here with one of the kids because they can definitely tell you their perspective and what they've accomplished. But I just wanted to give you a heads up that we've started and we are increasing and improving our services, and that's with your support, of course. I'm welcome to answer any questions you have.
I appreciate you coming forward and sharing a little bit about the youth program. It's kind of one of those unseen services in our vast city of services. Everybody sees a fire truck and a police officer in public works, but this is a service that a lot of people don't get to see. And having had the opportunity, as you say, to participate at graduation and just seeing, the excitement and the enthusiasm and the belief in what these students have learned, on the faces of these students, it really is a remarkable thing. And so I applaud you all and council for, allowing this program to continue and getting these children to participate, because I do see that it makes a difference for them, and so hopefully they'll move on to be greater things. And some of these students, as you mentioned, have come back and participated as mentors, and so it's a great program. So thank you for coming forward. Ms. Mayor, anything?
Thank you, Wendy, and the mayor pretty much nailed everything with, we've been involved in the program. I've experienced it for a number of years, and the success of that program. I'm really excited that you were able to get a program coordinator and the part-time folks, as you indicated, that are familiar with the program, but more importantly, are familiar to the kids and someone that they're comfortable with. So applaud everyone for the outstanding job for 29 years of work, and really just an awesome program. The only question I had was, could you remind everyone what the age range for participation in that program?
Yeah, so again, because we have capacity limits, so our after-school group we are targeting middle school, so either Berkeley or James Blair. Right now, we have all Berkeley kids. And then the mentoring can be any age, really. It's about who needs that extra support. But we typically target middle and high school. Again, it's about the family and the kid and what they need, but that's typically the age range, middle and high school.
Thank you.
No, I don't have anything to add. Thank you so much. And I really look forward to meeting the new coordinator and really congratulate you and the team and the kids for having so much success, and hopefully looking forward to it growing in the future.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd just like to add my thanks, particularly taking a very successful summer program and being able to expand it into the school year. So one of the questions I had was the ages, which you just answered. And what's the capacity or the number of students that you can sort of accommodate? And do the same students that came in February, do they stay through the summer, or are there certain blocks to allow other students? Just appreciate a little bit more.
Sure, and I think after school, right now, we're serving 9, so we could probably go up to 15, just based on the staffing we have. If we're able to bring on additional part-time staff, we could increase that, but we want to make sure our staff to youth ratio is appropriate. And again, the services we do after school, we're encouraging kids who are involved in sports to do that. But if they do have a free day, they can come to our program. Whereas the summer program, we have kids commit to,
Right.
all 7 weeks, 5 days a week. But during the school year, we want kids to be involved in extracurricular activities and sports. So we encourage that. So they can kind of come in and out of our program during the school year. Sometimes it'll be the same kids from the summer program, and again, kids will kind of, hopefully we'll recruit some more kids, and some kids will hopefully maybe get connected to jobs and have a work opportunity over the summer. So we haven't quite made it to our summer program yet this year to see which kids will be able to participate, but again, we just want kids engaged in the community, whether it's work or our program or in school, in whatever way they can.
And you mentioned that William & Mary is providing some tutors. Is that through their Office of Community Engagement or School of Education? Just sort of curious on that.
Yeah, Mr. Newsom connected with the Office of Community Engagement, and they've made those connections on how to recruit the William & Mary students to come and do the tutoring.
Good, all great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll echo all the compliments, Director Evans. Thanks so much for coming and presenting, and it's exciting to see the program now expanded, both in the length of it, but then also the actual staff capacity with ties hiring. You mentioned something a second ago I was curious to ask a little bit about, and that was our ability to pick up kids who are participating in the program, since the transportation to and from could be prohibitive. I know I've had a resident reach out to me before about that very thing, and it's exciting to hear that we can, it sounds like, satisfy students that are in Williamsburg who want to participate in the program by getting them to it. So you said that was 3 times a week we're able to just take care of the transportation, was that right?
Yes, we have 2 15-passenger vans, so we pick them up right from the school. Of course, we feed them and do the academics and then do the programming, and then we drive them home. So transportation should not be any barrier, because we know families are working, they're busy, and so we want to make sure we provide that service.
Yeah, that's astounding, being able to meet them where they are. So just wanted to learn a little more about that. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy. Okay, Mr. City Manager, any report?
Just the only thing that I would note is that staff's currently working on a gas leak along Richmond Road in the area where it intersects with Scotland Street. And there'll be several streets closed in the area until they get the leak stopped. And then after that, there will be repairs that probably last into the night that will impact Virginia Street and Richmond Road.
Sorry to hear that, but glad we're on it. Ms. Shelton, any report?
Nothing now. I have some things later.
Okay. Takes us now to open forum, which is an opportunity for anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council to come forward. It can be on an agenda item or anything else. So if you'd like to come forward, please state your name for the record and take up to 5 minutes. I just knew we were going to have somebody today with all these folks. Okay, we'll close the open forum and goes to now public. Yep. All right, come on forward. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Gerald Lelansky. I live in 4 Hague Close, Port Anne. So I'm on the Architectural Review Committee. And I just request that the November 2020 description of Port Anne be incorporated in the latest inventory of architecture styles. It was removed in the 2022 version.
Okay.
It's just, it'll make it easier for our committee to go, okay, we want to continue with the same style all along. And we're getting new members into the community who think we're in a farm-styled homes or modern or whatever. This will just make it easier, and 19 of our homes are within the corridor protection district. Just want to have it put back in.
Okay. We'll have staff maybe follow up with you and get some
Okay,
specifics.
sent an email earlier this week, but I just wanted to. Okay, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming forward. Would anybody else like to come forward? Now I'll close the public open forum and we'll go to public hearing. First is the public hearing regarding the amendment to the city voting precinct. I didn't see who was handling that.
Shelton.
Mayor and members of council, the voter registrar is recommending that we make some adjustments to our voter precinct districts. Currently, there are 6,521 registered voters assigned to Stryker precinct and 3,947 voters assigned to the Matoka precinct. The change that we're proposing would balance those two precincts better than they're currently balanced, so there's just over 5,000 in each one of the precincts. Mr. Barham is bringing up the map. The area in yellow is the area that we're proposing to re-precinct from Stryker to Matoka to balance the polling places. This change only affects whether you vote at the community building or you vote at the Methodist Church. It doesn't change the ballots or impact voters in any other way. Those two polling places are 0.8 of a mile apart, so they're pretty close to each other anyway. If we get to 4,000 actual voters in the Stryker precinct, which the voter registrar believes we'll do in the next presidential election, then we will be required to create a new precinct in the city because none of our precincts at that point can have over 5,000 voters assigned to it. So by making this change, we're hoping to keep two precincts for as long as we can, and the expectation is that the two precincts could remain for several more years before this becomes an issue again. The law requires council to hold a public hearing. We've advertised the public hearing twice, as we were required to do, but we've also decided to go through the new process where we provide additional public input opportunities. And so this information was posted on the city's website in March, and it will stay up, or the end of February rather, and it will stay up until the beginning of April. The public will have an opportunity to comment on the website or to contact the city directly or to speak in the public hearing. Once the comment period is over with, then we'll bring an ordinance back to City Council and ask City Council to make that change. And should Council decide to do that, it would not be implemented until July the 1st because we have to provide a 30-day opportunity for someone to complain about the change to the court. It also helps us avoid changes right before the primary elections this year. So this change would take effect for the general election in November, but not for the primaries. So we're asking the City Council to hold the public hearing today and receive any comments from the public at the public hearing, and then we'll bring an ordinance back to you next month.
Any questions from Ms. Shelton?
And I'm sorry,
Yep.
Ms. Reitzel is here if you have any questions for her, and also our city electoral board members are here as well.
Thank you, Ms. Reitzel. Any questions on this matter?
Ms. Wright, so one question in reading the description of the changes, I think it certainly makes sense that the community building can't accommodate that number of voters. But I did notice it says that the precincts, the affected voter would be notified prior to the November election. How will that notification take
They
place?
get a new voter card, gets sent to anybody with a change.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, no other questions. So we'll go now to the public hearing, and if anybody would like to come forward and speak to this, please step forward and state your name and address. Seeing none, we'll close that public hearing. You know, for me, while it may create some inconvenience for some folks, I think maintaining 2 precincts is an ideal outcome for this, so certainly something I would support. So from here, Chris, we'll just,
So this will be on your agenda, I hope, next month for action.
okay. Thank you. All right, takes us now to the second public hearing, which is the, regarding the amendment to the ARB design guidelines.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, unfortunately, the planning director had a death in the family, couldn't be here today, and so we would ask that you table this item.
Okay, yeah, I think it makes sense that we wait for her to be able to participate and answer any questions that we may have. So if I can have a motion to table that.
I move that city council take the city manager's recommendation and table the public hearing on the amendment to the ARB design review guidelines.
Second.
Mr. Trivett, would you call the roll?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kern-Shear?
Aye.
So, Mayor Pons, just for the record, that tables it to next month's council meeting, is that right?
That's correct.
That's April 13th
Yes.
PM? Okay, thank you.
All right, takes us to unfinished business, and the first is discussion and authorization to execute an interim agreement with Henderson, Inc. for the construction of the Williamsburg Police Department project.
So before City Council is the interim agreement with Henderson, Inc. to design the the police station with the cost of $938,803. This contract is a little more complex than the last interim agreement because since we have some vacant land that can be cleared and the site work can be done ahead of time to get moving a little quicker with the police station, we've also included that site work and design work for the public works yard in this contract. So the site work for the site is in this for a cost of not to exceed $1.3 million, $1,393,000 specifically. The typical provisions are in here both for the construction contract and for the design contract. We have asked the Henderson to go up to 50% construction drawings, so we have a better handle of what the cost potential is when we get to the comprehensive agreement.
Questions?
No questions.
Is there a motion? No, this is not a public hearing. Or is this is unfinished business, so.
Okay. So I move that City Council authorize the city manager to execute the interim agreement with Henderson, Inc. for the design of the Williamsburg Public Department facilities.
Second.
Trivett.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kern-Shear?
Aye.
That takes us to item B, which is consideration and authorization to execute a contract for a year-round event management services. Ms. Adams, welcome.
Hello, thank you, Mayor Pons, Vice Mayor Dent, and members of City Council for allowing me time today to provide an update and recommendation for the year-round event management services. Mark, am I using this one? Give me just a second.
Don't want to do this one?
I mean, I can try, but I really don't think it'll help.
We need to table it anymore?
Are you getting everything you need out of this?
This is the speed version.
Oh. Yes. Here we are. Oh,
No?
okay. Yeah, interesting. Should I just wing it?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Well,
You want the printer?
that should be good.
Could it be out of order?
What's that?
Could it be out of order?
Okay, all good. So as part of this current year's GIO cycle, City Council directed city staff to find select the best vendor to provide year-round event management services for the city of Williamsburg. The contract had been held for several years. The contract amount was around $340,000, and at that dollar amount, we wanted to make sure we were being good fiscal stewards and that we were doing the proper public processes for it. So taking City Council's direction, we started last summer. We spent the summer identifying the specific needs that would have to be identified in the RFP document to make sure that we met City Council's stated goal. That RFP was released in October of last year. We conducted interviews with the finalists. There were 5 proposals received in totality. We conducted interviews in January with the 2 finalists and have a recommendation before you today. So we are recommending that City Council authorize the city manager to negotiate a contract with AV Adventure. AV Adventure is here today in the room. Liz Sykes and Adam Stackhouse are here. They are the founders, owners, and operators of AV Adventure. They're based out of Richmond, but they do have a Williamsburg office and a Williamsburg business license. They by far did the best job in the proposal of offering a variety of events that would serve not just City of Williamsburg residents, but college students both over and under 21, and our tourists as well. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And if you have any questions for Adam and Liz, I'm sure they'd be happy to answer as well.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate winging it. You did a good job. I think, where we are today in terms of, kind of creating these events, we want to have things that inspire people in unique ways and do different, a little bit differently than we just traditionally have done. And I think what AV Adventures has proposed, while maybe some foreign concepts to me, but I look forward to participating. I think it's going to be received very well by the community. But moreover, I think it'll be received well by visitors who will be attracted to, the various different types of things and come and stay the night and eat in some of our restaurants. So I think we're heading in the right direction. So I appreciate it. I don't have any questions, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. I don't have any questions. I too just think this met the goal that council was looking for by providing that range of diverse events and kind of give us a different look than we've seen in past years and more exciting and bring more tourists to Williamsburg. So thank you for all the work on that.
I just want to say that, I think, community events are so important to the fabric of the community for people who do live here. And I think it's really exciting to see what happens with different types of events, different sorts of events that I hope will really draw in all members of our community, to come together in different spaces and in different ways. So I just think that this type of initiative is really what helps make a town. And I'm really excited about what's going to happen next. So thank you, and thanks very much.
And I would just like to reiterate the same, and I'm also glad that we used an RFP process. I think it helped define what our expectations were, what the requirements are. And I would like to remind the public that Adam and Liz and AV Adventures are not new to the community. For many years, they've been putting on our Great Adventure Race, and they have interacted and brought together our restaurants, our businesses with the community and individuals. So I think they'll carry that forward. And the quality of the Ampersand Festival that just included last Sunday, I guess, is getting sort of proof of what they're capable of doing and the type of talent that they're able to attract. So I look forward to what we'll see in the next couple years.
And I completely agree, using both of those examples. I've seen both the race, the festival rebranded as Ampersand Grow, which has been very exciting. It's been looped into some of the city's previous future festivals, so that working relationship is there. And I'm excited, as Councilwoman Kern-Shearer said, about the broad range of events proposed to the city. So we really are having something for everyone. So excited to support.
All right. So I move that City Council authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract with 8V Adventure to annually produce 5 to 7 events for a not-to-exceed contract price of $300,000, subject to legal review and approval of the city attorney.
Second.
Second, yeah, thank you. Trivet?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kern-Shearer?
Aye.
All right, takes us to consideration appointments to boards and commission members.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that the city council appoint Linda Berryman to the Architectural Review Board for a term beginning March 9th, 2023 and ending December 31, 2026. And the city council appoint Gene Zeidler to the Peninsula Agency on Aging for a term beginning on March 9th, 2023 and ending December 31, 2025.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Trivet.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kern-Shearer?
Aye.
And we do have Ms. Berryman in the audience, so thank you for your willingness to serve. Takes us to new business, and first is consideration and approval of the Williamsburg Public Arts Council's recommendation to allow the Daughters of the American Revolution 250th Patriot Marker at Bicentennial Park. Hello there, Joanne.
Good afternoon, Mayor Pons, members of City Council. I have back-to-back items on the agenda, so we'll start with the Daughters of the American Revolution 250th Patriots Marker. We do have local DAR representatives here. If there are questions that I am unable to answer, they are happy to assist. Let's get started. All right, DAR established its program for the 250th Patriots Marker commemorating the 250th anniversary of this nation. The Williamsburg chapter would like to apply for this marker. It's an application process. As you can see here on the screen, there is an image of what the marker would look like. It's a 30 by 30 bronze sign. It is deemed public art, so it would be considered a donation of public art. So it went to before the Public Art Council here in the fall of 2022 to discuss a location for the marker. They identified Bicentennial Park, as you can see here, the greenery, Liriope, thank you. I had it written phonetically, so I wouldn't mispronounce that. There are other markers in the park. It's a good fit for it. I know Councilwoman Ramsey went out and walked the park as well to look at locations. In order to complete the application, DAR needs a letter of authorization from the city to allow for access to the park itself. So that is why we are here today. Yes, is there anything else that you would like to add as members?
No, I think this is an exciting opportunity and look forward to putting the placard up there. And it is a good-looking piece, and I think it's an appropriate spot, so.
Yeah, no questions. As one of council's representatives to the Public Art Council, we saw a presentation in the past on this, so I agree that it's in the right location. It's going to add to the park.
Wonderful. Nothing to add.
And just as Vice Mayor Dent said, I'm also a representative to the Public Art Council, and we talked about it. And I think as the city gears up for the 250th anniversary, any way that we can celebrate that is beneficial to the city. So.
I agree. It's exciting to start seeing some of that celebration begin with this dedication, and Bicentennial Park has already benefited from sculptures and public art and historical placards there. I think this will add well to the ambiance.
Is there a motion to approve?
So I move that City Council approve Bicentennial Park as a location for the Daughters of the American Revolution 250 Patriots Marker and accept the donation of public art.
Second.
Trivet.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kernscher?
Aye.
Okay, don't go anywhere, Ms. Scribala. Next, we have consideration and approval of the Williamsburg Public Arts Council's recommendation to award funding for a mural to be installed at Midtown Road totaling $17,000.
Okay, I know that I gave a little bit of, or I spoke a little bit about this mural program back in December, but I wanted to give another brief overview of just kind of explaining how we got here today. Last year, the council established its mural program in partnership with Midtown Row. In May of that year, we put out a request for proposals for 2 mural locations in Midtown Row, collected 17 submissions over those. An artist was selected for one of the walls, and that mural was executed successfully in the fall. And you can see the picture here of the butterfly, there's Silas Baker's mural over there in Midtown Row. However, a decision could not be made for the second wall, so we reworked and reissued that RFQ, and it yielded 13 submissions. I will say that we did make some changes to that, that document, including an increase in budget from $11,000 to $17,000 and allowed any qualified artist to apply for it. Previously, we had Virginia-based artists only, but we did extend that to anyone. So from those 13 submissions, the Public Art Council reviewed those in December and selected 2 finalists to go back and look at their proposals and rework them. In January, the Public Art Council selected artist Britt Flood from Pittsburgh, North Carolina as the winning artist, and then worked with her to finalize that design. I will say, this is the location. It's on the side of Food Line. It's across from South by Victor. It's a very large space. It's walkable. It's right next to the butterfly mural. The theme that we had was community connections, and then the size is 15 feet by 40 feet. Here is some of the artist's previous work. She has had extensive mural experience. I will say she's worked on murals from up to 40 feet high to 80 feet long, so she's comfortable with large spaces. And she does have a personal goal of putting a mural in every state in the country, so Virginia would help to fill that for her. Let's see. And so this is the design that we're looking at right now. Key elements to look at: the artist looked at the GIOs and the vision for direction and inspiration. She used illustrative style with bright colors. These do complement the existing mural. We made that a requirement in the reworked RFQ as well. The figure in the middle shows abstract illustration of greenways with trees meant to represent health and wellness, and then the red cardinal as a symbol of hope and leadership, and also, of course, the state bird. And then to the right is an oak tree representing strength. So, this is the mural. We successfully went back and forth over this design. She had presented several concepts. We had our chair actually cut out a piece of it and rearrange it, and the artist was very receptive to all of that. So we are excited about this. And in February, the WPAC voted unanimously to award Britt Flood $17,000. As a reminder, the Public Art Council's budget is equal to 1% of the CIP. They are allowed to spend up to 10% of that as of right now, and because this does go over the threshold for that, that's why we're here today asking for approval. If awarded, we draft the contract. Half of the payment would be given out at the signing of the contract, and then the other half the completion of the mural. And then the artist is expected to complete the mural in 7 to 10 days. That's her timeline there, and we'd love to have it done by June, so before it gets too hot into the summer months. And I can answer any questions.
So I don't have any questions, just a comment. I think what's happening over there with the murals, I think, is really an enhancement to that area. I think it just increases the vibrancy of the area. It gives people another reason to hang out while they're shopping and dining, and just gives them something better to look at than a brick wall. And I think that Williamsburg's come a long way, and this is not untasteful. So I think this would be a good addition. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. And again, being part of the Public Arts Council, what I really want to say is I applaud the Public Arts Council for taking their time. There was a lot of time taken on the first mural, and I think it's been it was highly successful project, and I think this is going to be as well. It was evident that the change in the RFP from the first RFP to the second with the additional funding allowed some more experienced artists to bid on a project for Williamsburg. And I agree that it's much better than looking at a bare wall. But most of all, I want people out there to know this council really puts a lot of effort and took their time in the decision-making process for both the murals that we've talked about so far. So I really applaud their efforts and yours as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say, how much I appreciate the work of the Public Arts Council, all the members for taking their time, because I think, at least in my family, we can't ever agree on art. And so I salute those who come together and really try to find something and really spend the time to work through, I think, what probably is, sometimes hard decisions to make. And I really think the design is lovely and colorful. And I just want to say, too, that I think public art is another one of those things, almost like events, that really does show care for our town and pride in our community, so that's something that's visible, that when people come to town, or when people who live here just go out to dinner, can really say that, we're a community that really has a lot of pride in where we are. And I think that public art is just an essential element to that. So thank you, and thank you to the Public Arts Council for bringing this forward.
So I thank us, too, for all of the time, and one of the members of the Public Art Council is in the audience, and it's been a very collaborative process among the different members on the council and our backgrounds. Some of us are much more versed in art, others of us are not. So it's been good getting that expertise. And I would like to just say two other things. One is, to Stacy's point, I think this really adds to the placemaking for Williamsburg. And for each of the murals, there will be some amenities added. So for the butterfly, we anticipate having one of the local garden clubs, I think, will be planning some things there. And then there will also be plaques for each of the murals, so that people can click on them, and I guess we'll have a QR code so that they'll be able to get a little bit more of the story about the murals. So thank you.
Thank you, Joanna, for all your work on this, and the Public Art Councils. Britt, the artist, is not here today.
No, she is not.
Okay, she's not, but it sounded like the timeline was a potential completion by summer, around June or
That's
July.
what we're aiming for, yes.
Okay.
It's, of course, contingent on weather and all of that, but that is the timeline.
Well, I just bring it up because if that's the case, by July, we may have completed and done the proverbial ribbon cutting on 3 murals within 1 year, and that's a really exciting pace. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see this come in, especially as that walkable corridor is being activated a bit more from Midtown Row. So, yeah, thank you for bringing this forward.
And one thing I would like to say that they just keyed upon is, I think we were all a little surprised how quickly Silas Baker completed his mural. And as Vice Mayor Dent said, you could tell from the presentation material that Britt Flood is a professional. And so I anticipate hers will be done fairly quickly also. So I move that City Council authorize the WPAC to contract with artist Britt Flood for the design and installation of a mural in Midtown Row for a total cost of $17,000.
Second?
Rivet?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kernschier?
Aye.
Okay, takes us now to item C, which is consideration and approval of Resolution 23-01, a resolution of the Williamsburg City Council approving the city's participation in the proposed settlement of opioid-related claims against Teva, Allegrin, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and the related corporation entities.
So we received another request for participating in an opioid settlement regarding those particular pharmacies and corporations. The settlement for this is not very large, it's a few $1,000s. But we are working on using the money the city gets in cooperation with our regional partners and attempting to figure out what we can leverage from the state funds in order to do something on a regional level. And Ms. Evans has been working on that. The state is starting to provide guidance with respect to that. More so than the amount of money that the city will receive, we cannot use the state money that they receive for any projects unless we participate in the settlement. And so this settlement works the same way as the last one did. Virginia participate, 100% participation of the localities is what the state is shooting for. That gives the city of Virginia the most money from the settlement. The settlement is paid over years, so it's not an upfront amount of money, and depending on which of the pharmacies, depends on how many years the settlement lasts. So they are requesting, as with the last settlement, that the city council authorize the city's participation, and so the resolution in front of you does that.
Questions or comments?
I actually do have a question. If the money that the state gets or locality, is it targeted to be used for any particular purpose to like, ameliorate the destruction from
That's right.
the
So
opioid epidemic?
with the first settlement, 85% of that money had to be used for that purpose. For this settlement, 100% has to be used for that
Great,
purpose.
thank you.
Questions?
Just a very quick one. The last settlement, which we joined as well, could you give us a quick overview? I think it was a year or a little bit more ago, around the timeline, the yearly disbursements, maybe what some of that has been used towards?
Well, I don't think we've used any of it yet, and it hasn't been that much money. And so we'd have to talk to Barbara. I think we've maybe gotten about $10,000 to date. That's going to go on for 15 years. So there will be tens of thousands of dollars associated with that settlement. The settlement will not be that big.
And the issue with that settlement, and I'm sure it will be similar with this one, is that it was a large sum of money spread out across the whole state and all the localities, and spread out over such a long period of time that the payments that we receive are very, very small at any given time.
Okay, so that, from the last settlement, 10,000 was over the course of the next 15 years?
No, that's what we've received so far.
Yeah,
So
right.
we're 1 year into
Okay,
the
okay.
first 15 years.
That's what I thought, but this was smaller.
Also, the state is going to get a significant amount of money, and they have set up an opioid authority for the purpose of funding programs all over the state for this purpose. And so really, as it turns out, as we've gone through this and determined exactly how much money that we're going to get versus how much money the state is going to get in other jurisdictions, that really a regional approach is probably the best one and puts us in line for getting the funds from the state that are really going to have an impact.
Yeah, I imagine some of that programmatic money will go towards Hampton Roads or Eastern Virginia, however they divvy it up.
It's program by program.
Right.
And so you submit a program that you want them to fund. It has to meet their criteria, so that's what we're currently trying to determine, what program we could put in place that does that. And then we can't touch that money or participate in any of those programs that are funded by that money unless we are a participant in the settlement. And so with all of these, it's going to be less about how much money the city gets and more about the ability to access that state funding.
Right. Well, I just asked a couple, because I finished a book on this recently. I know the money for the city is going to be pretty small, but as far as Virginia having a high participatory rate for municipalities, that's where the value comes from. And it's terrible, the impact the epidemic has had. Some 450,000 Americans in almost 30 years have passed because of opioids. So happy to support, and thanks for the information.
Would you like to make a motion?
So I move that City Council approve Resolution 23-01.
Second?
Mr. Trivett?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pond?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kern-Shear?
Aye.
Okay, takes us to item D, which is consideration and appointment of Dustie McCay as the Clerk of Council. Are you sure you want to do this?
Don't give her that choice.
So is there any comments from,
Oh, no, I think it's time. Just as I start to learn your all's names.
is there a motion to approve or to appoint?
So
I move that the city council appoint Dustie McCay as clerk of council with a term starting March 10th, 2023.
Second?
Mr. Trivett?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pond?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kern-Shear?
Aye.
Okay. Next on our agenda is a closed session, so council will go into closed session But as you head home, Richmond Road is now back open, so you
Okay.
can traverse that way, you just can't get up Virginia Avenue. So is there a motion to go into closed session?
I move to go into closed session pursuant to Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia for the purpose of discussing the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders and offers, and discussion of terms or scope of such contract where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body per subparagraph 9.
Second.
Second?
Mr. Trivett?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pond?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kern-Shear?
Aye.
Okay, we're in closed session. Once we come back out, we'll be back active again.
Vacation of a closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia.
Second?
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey?
Aye.
Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kernscher?
Aye.
Is there any more business to come before council? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Trivett?
Too fast for me. Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Ms. Ramsey? Mayor Pons?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Dent?
Aye.
Ms. Kernscher?
Aye.